When you start arranging your posy for real, after you've had your practice session, again, make sure you've got your string to hand. I like to start off with something that is reasonably bushy, just to get myself going. So this could be one of your flowers or a lovely bushy bit of greenery. And I've laid out all my flowers on the table in front of me. So I've got my bits of green off to this side, my freesia, my lisianthus, roses, epitorium, chrysanthemums, and my tulips. So exactly the same technique. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work my way along this conveyor belt of flowers, so I don't really have to think about which flower I pick up next. I'm just going to pick up the next flower unless I end up with 2 or 3 flowers all together, and then I might jump to the next one or shuffle the bouquet around a bit. So pick up a piece of green, hold it up so it's going diagonally in. The heads, always notice, always putting them on the same side. So if you're left-handed, it would always go into the other side for me, but you're always putting it in the same position, always on this bit for your fingertips. Your green is heading out towards your fingertips. So that doesn't look much, there's only 2 pieces of flower material in there. Give them a bit of a twist. Come down with my next flower, which is a freesia, exactly the same thing, off to the side. With my free hand, go the stems at the bottom, let go at the top, and just give it a little bit of a twist. Come in with the lisianthus, exactly the same thing, off to one side, letting the stems fall away diagonally, and then twist. Same with the rose, off to that one side. You always imagine a little gap here. It doesn't stay because the time I scrunch the stems together to turn the flower heads round, it's shot up a bit, but it's just a good sort of practice to get into. So I come along with my little filler flowers. You'll see I've got different flowers in here. My rose is the wow flower, the lisianthus, and perhaps even the chrysanthemum are being my in-betweenies. And then by the time I get to my wispies, I've got, the wispy bit of green here and the wispy here of the white budded flower at the side. So twist it through. Tulip. This tulip's got a fleck of green coming out at the top. So I've been down my conveyor belt once. So I've got a posy that is quite small, doesn't look significant at the moment, but you can see here it's almost like a triangle of heads at the top and a splay of stems at the bottom, and that's what you're aiming for. So the next bit of greenery, I'm going to go in for my azalea. So it goes in the same place, off to the side, lock it down like that. I may find that this piece here is sticking out too much, but I can review that at the end. So grab at the bottom, let go of my top hand, just twist it round a little bit. I'm probably going around 1/3 of the way each time. Now, I'm just about to put a white freesia in, but I've already got a white freesia next door to it, so I might swap it for a yellow one. So same thing, out to the side, grab, twist, back, out to the side, grab, let go, twist and back. And the more you hold, you might change your hand from being that sort of snapper to becoming more circular. But you're just aiming for enough hold, it's quite a loose hold, to keep your flowers in place and not gripping onto them. So a rose up here. So you see, offering it up, once you've got more flowers in there, you can just feel by the grooves of the stems where they need to go. So whatever you prefer doing. And then my chrysanthemum here, coming out to one side, and then give it a twist, and another tulip, out to one side. It's nodding a bit, so when I come back and put another flower in, I need to prop it up a little bit. And back to the beginning. Go for some lilacs now. So out to that side, twist it round. Might take 2 freesias this time. Put them together, out to the side. Stems coming diagonally down this way. Hold the bottom, release the top, a bit of a twist. Now, I've come back to the floppy tulip here. What I might do is jump down a bit and come to my chrysanthemum, and I can use that chrysanthemum to prop up the tulip and get it to sit where I want it to sit, so it's supported a little bit. And again, you can see this nice shape, triangular shape, and this bit of azalea bud that looked like it was sticking out a long way is being enclosed into the rest of the bouquet. So I could perhaps go for another tulip round there and twist more of the lilac coming in and give it a twist. Got a yellow and a white freesia. And sit together, and now I'm putting them in, or if you want to, position them rather than just randomly putting them onto the side, you could offer them up now. Now you've got a body of flowers here. You can sort of see where the gaps are, where you want to make sure you've got some flowers. And back with the lisianthus, out to the side, snuggled up. Put two flowers in there together. Basically got the round shape coming through. And chrysanthemums, I feel it's quite chrysanthemum heavy around here. I might save that chrysanth for this side over here, so I could either wait until I've shuffled round there, or I could just rotate the bouquet in my hand and come back and put that, oops, there. So you don't have to keep going in the same order. You just need to look at it an arm's length away. Sometimes it's easier to look at your flowers in the mirror and just adjust and see what needs to be put in. Now I've got a piece of lilac here, piece down here, and I've got two more stems here. Actually, I separated them out because they were forked. What I'm going to do is to put them back in together and holding them over this side so they're evenly placed. I've ended up with 3 placements of the lilac coming through. Then go back round. I'm picking up 2 freesias at a time because I've got quite a lot of those, and it just makes it painstakingly slow to make. If you can handle several flowers at once, it does speed things up a little bit. But again, not to rush this, and if you needed to, put it down if your hand was aching, once you've got a quantity of materials in, you can rush your flowers down, and because they've all been slotted in together, easy enough to pick your bouquet back up again because everything is ridged around the same way. So I'll show you from that side. They will stay, they're not unfurling, so you can pick them back up again. So if you felt that you needed, quick visit to the loo, or you needed a cup of tea, or the front doorbell rang, you can put your flowers down. Now I've got a few more of these beautiful tulips. I'm going to put those in now because I don't want them being right at the edge of the bouquet, because when I tie the bouquet together, the delicate stems run the risk of being squashed. So I'm going to do a sort of circle of the tulips to put in there, and you can see they do have this natural bend, and you either need a vase that holds them up or another bit of greenery to keep them in place. And then I will come back just having a look at what else I've got. I've got 3 roses left, some lisianthus. I'm going to finish off my lisianthus. So I've got a patch of white over here, so what I might do is shuffle the bouquet around a bit and think about adding a patch of white over on the other side, just so the little posy looks random, but actually being random means being a tiny bit planned. I've got a rose down there, it's absolutely hidden, so what I can do here is just loosen my grip a little bit and very carefully go into the bouquet, and I can just raise it up a little bit so it's more prominent. You will find sometimes it's almost like the flowers look like they're going down the plug hole and they're disappearing away from you. And I think I will go for a bit of yellow just to brighten things up. And I do have quite a few flowers left over. I'm finding that I think I've got as much in there as I want, but I will put in my roses and the stems there will help those tulips hold up. I'm sort of putting them underneath just to give them a tiny bit of support. Twisting round. So I think I'm pretty much done there. A few more stems left on the table. Again, they can be used for another project. You never quite know how much you're going to use. And I have got these tiny bits of green left. Really, it probably doesn't need those bits of green. But what I will do, just going in, I've discovered another rose. So give it a wiggle. That looks better. There was a bit of a, not a hole, but it was a very dense colour of the peach. I was thinking that looks a bit strange. So it's a matter of giving it a quick sort of critical assessment. Does anything need lifting up? And trying not to lift the flower heads themselves. I am trying to go back and manoeuvre onto the stem so that nothing gets damaged. And then I've got these little bits of greenery that I can poke in, come back around the other side. So it just goes to show you don't need to have the greenery. It does, but it does help if you have got the green, because it will fill out your bouquet a bit more. And what you can do is, like, instead of looking obvious it's on the edge, you can sort of wend it through and having it coming through more centrally into the bouquet. So things can be moved around. They're not set in stone, but it's just a matter of being a tiny bit gentle with your flowers and not being too rough. I quite like that with the tufty bits of green in there. So I have got a few flowers over, so I'll put those to one side for another project. Now we come to tying the posy. I'm searching for my bit of raffia, which has fallen on the floor. So back with my piece of raffia. This could be a piece of string, whatever you've got to hand. If you wanted to use a ribbon, I would get a piece of string or raffia to do the hard work for holding the posy together, and then add your decorative ribbon afterwards once you know everything's really secure. And what I like to do is to fold my raffia in half. You can imagine it's on a U shape in front of me. So there's the loopy bit, and I've got two ends here. So I'm picking it up by the loop, like that, and then running the loop under my posy and holding it down with my finger here. So I'm pulling the raffia just above my hand. So where I've been holding it the whole time and getting the flowers to nestle across the top of my hand, the raffia goes in at that same angle. And then these two loose ends I thread through the loop and then pull on them to secure. I move my finger out of the way. So just gently, again, you don't want to pull too hard because your raffia will break if you pull too hard. It's nice and secure. I'll then lay that on the table in front of me and separate out those two separate strings. One way and one the other. Again, taking the opportunity to pull the bouquet tight and then go back underneath, across the strings, back to the top, and then tie a double knot. And then cut away the excess. So that holds really firmly. If you don't tie your posy together tight enough, when you lift it back up again, and of course your hand isn't gripping it in place, sometimes you find the centre opens out. So what you could do is to wiggle a flower down. If you have got a gap, you'd hold the flower like a little dart or a pencil, and you could wiggle the flower down and then pull it from the underside, or undo the string and just tie it a tiny bit tighter. And then we need to cut these stems so they're all the same length. And as a rule of thumb, I normally do 2 hand holds and then just cut a little bit at the end. And I'm cutting straight across just for ease. So with my scissors, 2 or 3 stems at a time. And then with the woody bits, you might need to come back in with a pair of secateurs to finish off. And there you have the finished posy. It's a bit like creating a floral bow tie. You've got a triangle of flower heads that side and a splaying triangle of stems the other side. So that would make a lovely hostess gift for a friend. If you've got a plentiful garden, you can be adding herbs into this. At the height of the summer, all sorts of bushy greeneries from your garden, and perhaps just a limited number of flowers from a supermarket, farmer's market, or your local florist. If you're gifting this, advise your friend to recut the stems at an angle and display it in a vase. And I would go for a vase that was quite tall. I don't like to see the stems, so I'd have the vase coming up quite high and then let the stems splay out inside. So that could be a glass vase so you could see your workmanship, or a ceramic vase so you couldn't see it at all. That would be a classic hand-tied posy.